Welcome back to the podcast. Hi.
Hello,
Hi.
hello,
Welcome.
hello.
Couple things before we start. If you are watching this on YouTube, hi. If you see me looking up, that's because I have a new setup and the screen is up here and the camera is right here. I have to figure out how to re-maneuver this whole thing, because I'll get into it in a little bit on why I have a new setup. But I have a new setup. So if I'm looking up, I'm looking at the screen so I can look at Grandpa while before he croaks while we talk. So nonetheless, how are you?
Hanging in there,
Yeah.
hanging in there.
Are you I read this yesterday. There was a hurricane. It was supposed to be a tropical storm called Otis, and it apparently turned into a Category 4 hurricane.
I think it's category 5 now, but I think it's
Oh,
going.
good.
I think it's going to the Caribbean.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask how's that gonna work? Got it. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So then let's just start. So this is a term I discovered 2 hours ago. Someone posted it on TikTok. Someone was making a video about the crumbling of society and how everything's expensive and or garbage products, whatever. Some guy stitched the video, meaning he chimes in, cuts their video off and chimes in with his opinion, and comes up with a term called enshittification. I'm going to try and spell this off the dome, but I've only seen the word twice so far. ENSHITTIFI SHITTIFICATION. I believe that's the proper spelling. Coined by Cory Doctorow, Dr. OW. That's one word for that last name. And it has to do with the decay of the digital world, specifically digital, because we already have a term like planned obsolescence, which is the decay of physical materials, right? So that's why your washing machine doesn't last 20 years anymore. That's why laptops and iPhones only last 3 to 4 years at a time anymore. Your cars don't last 20, 30 years. They last 5. All of that is planned obsolescence, so that you buy more, and it is a form of decay of society, because we're not producing for longevity. We're producing for longevity and environment and beneficial things. We're producing for profit. So similarly, enshittification has to do with the decay of the digital world, specifically through various forms, but some being advertisements, some being like when you Google search, the entire first page is now unreliable because you're not sure whether that website paid to be in the first page's search or if it's an actual part of your search query. Because that's a thing. I don't know if you knew that. When you
Didn't
Google
know it.
something, yeah, when you Google something, so you currently when you Google something, I believe it's the first 3 or 4 links, it'll say ad next to it. It'll little tiny word. It'll say ad, meaning it's an advertisement. After that, all of those links are one of two ways. One, it is an actual like response to your query. You know, you typed in a query and it responded, and it's something that you're actually looking for. Or two, it's someone who may or may not be part of what you are looking for, but paid to get on your search engine because they are looking for more clicks, more views, more people so that they can sell to their advertisers.
So it's like people paying to get cookies onto your computer.
Just about, yeah. And as long as you click that link, they are probably going to make some, even if it's a couple pennies, they're probably going to make something off that. Um, so,
Nice, very
so
nice.
well, but that's a concept of enshittification. Is this the digital realm is decaying because of profit and greed and the lack of creativity and longevity and a variety of other things. Another example is Spotify. I love Spotify. I love not having to listen to an ad every single song because that's what YouTube does. And it's easier. I can play it in the background while I use my phone. YouTube, they don't let you do that unless it's called background using or like using the app in the background. YouTube doesn't let you do that for music unless you pay them like $6 a month. And it was great. I loved Spotify. And recently, in the past couple of years, they've now slowly altered it where every 3 songs, so just about 9 to 10 minutes, you get about 2 minutes worth of advertisements, 2 to 3 minutes worth of advertisements. So bordering a third, somewhere between a third and a fifth of what you consume gets added in with an advertisement, and it sucks. It sucks horribly because 2 to 3 minutes of advertisements every 9 to 10 minutes is insane. You don't even get that on cable television. It is mind-boggling, but it's another form of digital decay.
Well, cable television, depending on what you're watching, it's 2-minute break for advertisement, or if they want not to have so many breaks, it's 4 minutes.
Right. It's like 2.5 minute breaks. Yeah, but again, you're getting like 15 minutes, I believe, worth of show. Unless I'm no. Oh no, it depends on. No, I think I'm wrong. It depends on. No, that might be cable level advertising now that I think about it. From what I remember from my TV film classes, a 30-minute show, right? Like a quote unquote 30-minute episode on cable sitcom is actually 21 minutes because there's 9 minutes of advertisements. You get, I believe it's 3 minutes of advertisements at the beginning, or either 3 beginning, middle, and end, or it's like 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, and then 2 minutes. So just before the end of the episode, they'll throw in another 2 minutes, and then they throw in the last 2 minutes at the end. I think that's how that was. And so, but furthering my point, cable is a very old media in the scope of the digital realm. So the fact that someone like Spotify is adopting an old form of advertising shows you the decay. And the term furthers this mentality that it's basically only going to get worse in terms of the shitification of it. And based off of what it says here, it says it can be seen as a form of rent seeking, which is the act of growing one's existing wealth by manipulating the social or political environment without creating new wealth. Rent-seeking activities have negative effects on the rest of society. They result in reduced economic efficiency through misallocation of resources, reduced wealth creation, lost government revenue, heightened income inequity or inequality, risk of growing political bribery, and potential national decline. Successful capture of regulatory agencies, if any, to gain a coercive monopoly can result in advantages for rent seekers in a market while imposing disadvantages on their corrupt competitors. This is a prime example of streaming platforms, which also involves end shitification, because you have streaming platforms now where they are holding monopolies over content. And if they don't want it, rather than sell it, they just delete it off their platform. This happened with a show called Over the Garden Wall. This happened with a variety of shows, but this one specifically I know about. Over the Garden Wall is I'd say like a young adults TV show, cartoon animated, but it had a growing small cult following, and Max just offed it. They cut that dead branch off the tree, and to my knowledge, they don't have a reason to. I don't think they're giving it to anyone else. They're just getting rid of it because it's just like too much space. It's like clearing all the old crap out. And the problem with that is there's no archive. There's no archival system now. Someone's going to have to illegally download it and have it somewhere to archive because Max just doesn't want it on their platform anymore.
Yeah, but there's so many platforms like Tubo and Freevee, you know, when you're streaming, that say
Yeah.
to you beforehand, do you agree that you're going to have advertisements? And you do, because it's
You
free.
right. No. Max is not free. You're paying for their service.
Yeah, I
HBO
know.
Max, right? So,
Yeah,
but
I have that Max. I have Max.
it's the problem. The problem lies in the fact that you're paying for this service and they can get rid of whatever they want whenever they want.
Right.
And the problem with that is I'm paying for the service. So I would like the reason I paid for that service was for shows like that. It's like if Netflix got rid of Stranger Things, One Piece, and a couple other shows, they'd have no reason for people to be on Netflix. Most people are on Netflix for certain popular shows like Stranger Things, like Wednesday, like One Piece. Those are the reason why people are on Netflix, not because they have some show like Love Island is actually another reason why people are on it. But you understand what I mean. Some of these
but
side
let me
lower
ask you
ends.
questions. I understand what you mean, but how many people who are listening to this understand what you're saying?
In what regard? The end shitification has to do with corporate greed and the continued desire to shove advertisements and unnecessary crap down our throats so that somebody's grandson doesn't have to work anymore for the rest of their lives.
You just made it a little clearer as to your perspective.
Got it. Okay. I wasn't sure if that was clear in the beginning, but that's it. To condense it all into one thing, that's the umbrella. That's the meat and potatoes under the umbrella of the term and shitification, and the fact that it will, by this person's standard, continue to get worse because the reason they're doing this is because they're just trying to make more profit and they're not going to create anything new. They're going to just build on the old foundations. It's the same way as like that new Sphere in Las Vegas, the Sphere, right? It's called that. I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't.
It's both aggressively dystopian and also quite cool. So it's a dome. It is a dome in Las Vegas, but the whole dome is a screen. The entire dome. It's like 40 stories tall. I don't know. I'm pulling numbers in my ass, but it's like a massive, massive, massive dome. And it's got a massive screen on the inside and outside. And on the outside, they're constantly advertising. It looks like a micro sun. It literally just looks like a small sun inside Las Vegas. Let me see if I can pull this up.
While you're looking, to simplify it on my end, if I'm watching Tubo or Freevee and it says that there are hundreds of movies on there that I could stream, but they're going to be ads on there, I'm getting it for free.
No, that's fair. That's totally
that's fair.
That's called freemium. That's called a freemium form of content. That's understandable.
Yeah, but I'm opposed, like you had said, that if I'm paying extra for Max, or if I'm paying extra for Paramount Plus or Amazon Prime, I don't want them to be putting any ads before or in between what I'm watching, because I just want to see what I see and use what I paid for.
Well, and also the thing that furthers this conversation is, to a degree, if something is free, there has to be a way to pay for it. So advertisements is a way to pay for it. Absolutely. Right. The problem with that is, if we are going to be objective about this, a lot of these companies are putting in 5 times the amount of advertisements that actually objectively should be there, because the top CEO needs to make $100 million a year. If that top CEO was not making $100 million a year, and the 5 to 20 board members and executives below him were also not making multi-million a year, we wouldn't need as many advertisements.
Oh,
Objectively. Objectively.
you're simplifying something that I don't agree with, and you know it. It's they're trying to make a profit so that
No, I know.
shareholders also can make money.
I understand. Shareholders are the bane of existence, but
Yeah.
the what I'm getting at is, like I said in another podcast, profits are fine. Record profits every single year are predatory and are sapping and are greedy. And
let's veer off of this, because we're going to get away from what you're talking about.
Okay, but no, but then let me reel it back. Reasons like that, where you've got the top 20, top 25 people in the company who are making at minimum $50 million, $20 million, $10 million a year, and the topmost guys making $100 million a year. That comes all the way down to the consumer, who then is forced to watch more advertisements. And the problem with that is freemium, right? Like Tubi, where you watch it for free, or YouTube, where all the content on there is free. There is a degree of advertisement watching, shall we say, that you can argue is acceptable. The problem is they keep pushing those boundaries, and they claim it's because costs are going up and whatever. Bullcrap. It is to add more profit to a very few section of people. And that's part of the decay. That's part of the decay. These companies don't need to be putting in as many advertisements, but they are, because it makes them more money. A prime example is TikTok. TikTok was a very profitable company. They then found that they can add advertisements into TikTok. They then added more advertisements into TikTok. And it started to become so much that you were looking at, for every TikTok that you scrolled by, you couldn't scroll more than twice without either hitting an advertisement or a commission-based TikTok. Commission-based TikToks are when TikTok creators get a collaboration with a company and they do a commission-based video. You couldn't scroll more than twice. And it still happens now. You can't scroll, I would say, more than 3 to 5 times. No, not 5. You probably couldn't reach 5 without hitting a commission or an advertisement. And so now they offer a service, or they're testing a service in another country where you can pay $4.99 to have no ads. So they created the problem and the solution. And so either way, they now get to make boatloads of money.
Correct.
So my point being, objectively, they don't need both of these. They are doing it because they know that they can sap more money out of you.
Or it's thievery. It's thievery.
Correct. So this whole idea, this whole concept is very much under the umbrella of end-shitification and this whole desire. It is sadly a growing problem. My favorite one is Facebook, though, because Facebook is just an absolute cesspool of advertisements and crap. If anyone ever tries to send me a link or an article or anything from or on Facebook, immediately deleted. Immediately. Facebook is I'm not kidding you when I can say you can put whatever you want on Facebook. You can make an advertisement for whatever you want. It could be the most heinous propaganda in the world. Facebook probably won't catch it, or they probably won't care. Facebook allows almost anything outside of the basic stuff like porn and things like that. But so long as you're smart about it, you put whatever you want. Facebook does not care. It is an actual cesspool of advertising. And that's what a whole multi-hundred million, I think it was like $500 million thing with Cambridge Analytica went out during the Trump presidency, because propaganda and false based advertisements were being pushed on Facebook. Facebook knew about it and did nothing about it because they knew that it would shift the polling system. It was an actual court case that ended up causing a lot of money to be paid from Facebook, but they don't care because if it's a fine, if the consequence for a punishment is a fine, then it's only a consequence for the poor. It's only a punishment for the poor. That's what it is. If the consequence for a problem or a crime is a fine, punishment is purely for the poor.
Explain that.
Because the poor can't afford it, but rich people can always afford it. Speeding tickets, a prime example. A poor person is not going to speed because they can't afford to constantly pay speeding tickets. A rich person, they'll speed as much as they want because $50 ticket, that's chump change. That's pennies to what I make. Unless you're in a country like, I believe it's either Finland or Denmark, they will give you tickets based on your income. So they have a percentage rate based on your income. So if you make if you make $150,000 a year, your speeding ticket is a percentage based is correlated to your income.
That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible.
It incentivizes people not to commit crimes.
No.
Because again, if the crime is a fine, it is purely there to push down, oppress, or be a problem for poor people.
Yeah, but the incentive not to speed or get tickets is the points on your license.
You don't get a point just because you speed. It depends on how much you speed. If you speed only 10 over, I don't think you get a point. I think it's 15 or so if it's, I believe it's if it's 20
police officer won't give you a ticket if you're 5 or 10 miles over the limit.
If
he will give you a ticket if you're 30, 40 miles over the miles per hour over, and you will get a point. And if you continuously do that, unless you're hooked up with a judge, an attorney that dismisses it, or unless the police officer doesn't go to court and it gets dismissed, then
but again, wealthy people can afford lawyers, so they can afford to get it dismissed. They can afford to fight it. They can afford to do these things. And so they can arguably speed indefinitely if that's what you're going to go with. So again, it lies in that conversation. Nonetheless,
let's get back to your real topic.
Let's go back to, I wanted to talk about the sphere. Hold on. I have it right here. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see this?
Yes, but it's so small, it doesn't make sense.
Do you see his big sphere on the right side?
Yes, I do.
That is the sphere in Las Vegas. It has, I forget what the number is, but it's millions and millions of lights inside and on the outside. And it can produce images like this. Big, I mean, multi story concepts. And it's, see here, this is the one I was thinking of. NBA 2K24 Summer League. It looks like a giant basketball. That's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
There is something cool to be said about this and how it looks. On the inside, it's still a dome, but you can have very crazy light things. I don't know how to explain it. See, like this right here, this is an audience, and this is the dome. It looks like the dome is actually just a flat ceiling. What's actually happening is it's a light trick that's occurring to make it look like the ceiling came down. Ceiling didn't come down. The dome is actually still there. It just looks like that is doing that. So it's a really cool concept. It's a very, very cool concept, but it is also aggressively capitalistic and aggressively problematic because it is a micro sun. It is the apartments and hotels that live next to that have to have complete blackout curtains. Otherwise, that thing is gleaming into your room. And advertisement wise, that sucks. That blocks an entire sunset for people who used to drive down some major roads. And now they got to look at NBA 2K summertime. Like, there's something dystopian about how big that advertisement space can be.
No, it's like the big signs in the Marriott and 42nd Street.
Yeah,
And
Times Square, all of those. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a corporate dream and a consumer hell. It sucks. It sucks. It's become a novelty because of how long it's been that way, but it is the most overstimulating, blinding advertising hell. There is, as someone who has been going to New York since he was 2, as I've gotten older and started to go myself, I have grown to hate Times Square because it is so awful. No peace, no peace. You're either trying to look up at the sky and getting blinded by advertisements from Calvin Klein and the Kardashians and American Eagle, or you're looking down at the people. You've got the naked cowboy, you've got Optimus Prime and Batman trying to take pictures with people, a group of Elmo characters on the left side. You've got TikTokers in the middle trying to do in the street questionnaire conversations. You've got someone over by the red stairs chanting about Jesus and how we're all going to hell. And then you've got grandma out in the corner with her titties out playing a guitar.
hey, this is a big improvement because in my day, you had hookers all over the place until Giuliani cleared it up.
I know, but comparing shit to garbage doesn't mean we should accept it as the holy grail. Shit, they're both crap. One may have been more dangerous, but they're both crap. That's the thing we need to recognize. Just because one is safer or slightly better than a previous version doesn't mean we stop there and go, we found it, we finished. Work's not done, job's not done. It's
Boy,
still a cesspool.
God forbid you ever went to Las Vegas, you'd have a stroke.
I know. I've seen.
And yet,
God forbid I go to Japan. Oh my God, Tokyo. Holy shit. Now, like I said, though, it's a
and
novelty.
I love it.
Hold on. It's a novelty. By all means, there is something to be said about going to Times Square a couple of times because of the novelty of the lights and the events. But the thing that worries me, concerns me, and bothers me is I don't want all of society to be that way. And that's the problem, is that's what it feels like is we're headed towards.
Yeah, but your family must have gone to Disney World 20 times.
Do you know that was not my choice? Do you know how much I would have loved to have gone to another country?
That's the same thing.
Yes,
same thing.
and it's not good.
Yeah, well,
and it's not good. It's not a good thing.
Some people think that, and going to Las Vegas and seeing the lights and the spectacular things and seeing the shows on Broadway. They come from small areas. They may not be rich and they may save all year and they go.
Yes, as I said, it is a novelty. So by all means, let it stay a novelty. But for the love of God, if all of New York City becomes Times Square, build electric billboards on every street, nook and cranny, I'm gonna lose it. That's the problem. That's the problem. Not that Times Square is necessarily this massive, massive problem. If it's condensed and contained to Times Square and never leaves Times Square, I can live with it. I still don't love the advertisements being shoved in my face, but I can live with it because the rest of New York is a lot nicer. But imagine,
I say this tongue in cheek, Peter. The next step would be electrifying all the homeless boxes with the people in it and having flashing lights saying, watch MTV, and paying
Oh,
the homeless people a stipend for using their box or their home.
yeah,
Uh,
that gee,
I'm,
that's that's not a
I'm,
like that's probably what they're gonna do. That's probably
yeah,
what they're gonna do. But you know what I mean? Like we're slowly losing things to this
this-
advertising electric world, digital
okay.
world, I should say. And that's my problem. Like I said, Las Vegas, let it be Las Vegas. That's fine.
Hmm.
It's a novelty. Disney, great. But if all of Florida becomes Disney because Disney buys up all of Florida or like half of Florida because they want to make so much more in an immersive world, that's scary as hell. That's a monopoly, and that creates a massive, massive problem. That's a
Yeah,
company that is now owning almost an entire state. That is a massive, massive problem.
okay.
Similarly, if Las Vegas grows to become not just Las Vegas, but the entire state, that's a massive problem. Massive, massive problem. Let them stay as novelties. Let them stay as amusement parks. Let them stay as fun, eventful things. That's cool. Save your money, go to them and enjoy them. Not a
Yeah,
problem. I
yeah,
can
yeah.
I can mutually recognize and respect someone spend saving money to go here and also not liking it myself. That's fine. Both of those can
Mhm.
exist. But if that grows into its own beast and starts parasitically consuming everything, that's where we run into a problem. Because now we're losing society and it's just becoming everything sellable. Even though we're already at that point, everything is already sellable. Um,
Again, that's your opinion. You're entitled to it.
so
It's funny, when I was in uh, college, one of the courses I took was marketing advertising. And everything that you're saying is deplorable is something that if I would have thought of, I would have become very rich in those days.
yes,
Uh,
because
I,
of
yeah,
course.
I was part of the advertising um, marketing society, and I went to the New York Advertising Club for a year. I just stopped going because they were anti-Semites at the time, I think. Um, but everything that you say is deplorable. If I would have thought about that, like these things, how they're raising money and such, uh, I'm not talking about Mad Men like on TV, but I would have been very, very rich. And I guess I would have strived for it, but I went in a different direction. But I understand what you're saying. It's an opinion. Um, it's an interesting article you bring forth. Uh,
It's a tough conversation to have because most consumers are not enjoying it. Most consumers feel like they're in a chokehold. Most consumers feel like they don't
yeah,
have a way out. And
yeah,
people also just want to enjoy things sometimes and not have stuff shoved down their throat. You can
yeah,
have, like, you can go to Times Square and accept that these things are here and still have fun. But sometimes people just want to go to Central Park and relax. And if I have to
yeah.
go to Central Park and deal with advertisements on the lake and deal with advertisements hung on the trees because there's now electric billboards hiding within the forests of Central Park, my quality of life, along with everyone else's, drops drastically.
So you don't like Times Square?
Times Square is a fun novelty. If I am in the mood to show someone this fun novelty, or I'm in the mood to experience some of the wackiest shit of my day, I can go to Times Square. But if you asked me, name 5 places you'd like to go in New York, they will never be Times Square.
So are you considering Times Square for New Year's Eve?
Yeah. Oh my God. Please kill me. Holy crap. Times Square, New Year's Eve. Again, a novelty. People wait years to be able to do this. Save thousands of dollars so they can stay at a hotel and do it. By all means, a novelty. Go for it. If you've never experienced it and it's something you really, really want to experience, go for it. By all means, do it. I
Okay.
support you. I support you to do it. Feed
Mm.
that capitalist machine. Feed it. Go for it. Do it. If it's truly what you want, do it.
You notice how I'm letting you uh, rant on about the capitalist machine. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm totally against a lot of the things you're saying, but I'm letting you express yourself.
Well, but
You know,
there's been some minor things you have agreed on too, which is nice.
that is true. That is true. That is true.
So
Uh, are you going to show in this podcast how you built this wonderful computer?
yeah, we can segue directly into that if you'd like. But first, we have to be right back because we have to change. It's like changing reels on an old frickin' camera. I gotta set it up. We'll be right back. Pause.
Okay. All right.
And we're back. Hi, welcome. Yeah, we're talking about the PC. I built a PC. I have been I don't know when did this start? I think this started about a year ago. Me and my friend Amelia were talking about building PCs, and because I am the only techie, shall we say, in my family, no one else understands even Wi-Fi, and that's okay. But I'm the techie, and as
Hey,
techie,
I understand Wi-Fi.
does Wi-Fi connect to the house? You know what I'm talking about.
I know, I know, I
um,
know, I know.
So, but I like tech stuff. I like the new phones. I like laptops, and over the past couple of years, I've gotten into doing other things like video editing and podcast and YouTube and live streaming and 3D modeling. It's all very, very fun, and it's very enjoyable for me as compared to something like, I don't know, tending to animals or being a political science major or whatever, various other things. I like tech. I like video games. I like tech and everything that has to do with that. Maybe not to the degree that some super like coding guys are, but nonetheless, I like it. And so me and my friend were talking about PCs and how, because I have this laptop and I do 3D modeling, I want something more powerful. And she was telling me how you can build your own PC. And at the time, it felt very far away, very, very, very far away. It felt like another language, something that's impossible to build. It like, oh, I need to go to school for that. Fast forward 6 months from that point, she builds her own PC. And it's really cool. And we had been talking about it and all the components and so forth. And she builds her own PC. And it comes out really nice. She gets a really good one. And I tell her, yeah, I want to do it at some point too. She goes, there's ways you can, what's really nice is you can budget and you can, because you buy the components yourself, it can be as expensive or as cheap as you want. And there's ways to get like nicer computers for pretty cheap. And I say cheap relatively because these things are not $100. But I then fast forward a couple months, I buy a couple of parts. And then fast forward another couple of months and I buy the rest of it and I put it together. And now, right now, which is why on this podcast you see me looking up, because I am streaming, or we're recording this on my PC. And my PC, I needed a monitor, and the monitor is now sitting up more and it sits right up here versus my laptop used to be down here. So I used to look right where the camera is. My laptop used to be just below it. Now it's above it. So that's why I've been looking up this whole time. What I ended up building was around the same, I think it was cheaper than my friend Amelia's, but mine is technically more powerful. And it's because I sacrificed some looks and some aesthetics for, well, those are the same thing, some aesthetics for workability and for whatever it's called, just better components, right? Because I do 3D modeling and I want to stream and I want to do these other things that may require more powerful or more intense labor on the computer. So I built one focused on that rather than focused on coolness or prettiness and so forth. Doesn't mean mine's not pretty or cool, but I have to say it is quite a fun while also being nerve-wracking process. you have a ton of parts, a ton of components to this thing. Uh, the wiring, the screws that you have to put in, and the fans, the graphics card, the core, everything. So many components, and some of these components are expensive as hell, and they're this big, and it sucks because you normally when something's expensive, you want it to be bigger and cool and pretty, and then it's this big. But nonetheless, very, very fun and cool process. And what I love about it is the customability of it. So you, when you build a PC, you put all the parts together. Those parts obviously go down in price, but you can sell those parts so long as they're in good condition, good use, and not like super well worn. You can still sell them again. So let's say you buy what's called a GPU. It's your graphics card. It's what provides images on your screen, allows you to play certain video games at higher quality or do 3D modeling at a higher quality, so on and so forth. Let's say you buy a nice graphics card for $700. Pop it in your computer, you use it for a year, new ones come out, yours drops by 200, maybe 250. You could probably sell yours for if it's in good condition, it's only a year old or whatever, probably sell for about 300 less than what you paid for, which still a deficit, but that's kind of nice. That's kind of nice because now I can put that money towards a nicer graphics card or another component or something else that I want, because being able to sell the pieces and the parts allows for you to continue to enjoy the process and make and do it, rather than something like an iPhone or a laptop where once it's obsolete, it's obsolete. That's it. Unless you have like a fancy, thicker computer where you can have some tech guy open it up and swap the parts out. That's it. You got to just buy a new laptop.
Are you going to show us what you built?
Sure, I can show you what I built. So I'm going to see if I can turn this around. So this is, where's the thing? Yeah. So this is I can't believe, oh look, there's the screen. Oh God, this is hard. I'm trying to do this mirrored. So this is the PC. You've got fans here that pull air in to keep everything cool. You've got fans up there that push air out so that the cold air comes in and then it disperses it out there. These rainbow pieces are what's called your RAM or your memory. And that block is currently cooling a CPU. It's sort of the main mechanic that commands everything in your computer. And it's that block is helping keep it cool because these tubes, these black tubes, have liquid in them. And what happens is when it gets hot in there, it creates warm liquid in one, runs up here, and above these fans is a radiator where the heat gets dispersed, and the fans push that hot air out and cool the radiator. And then the liquid comes back down and puts cool liquid in there and then carries the warm liquid up. And the cycle repeats. And so that's where we're at. And then we've got one more fan down there that pulls air in. This big bar right here, RTX GeForce, that's my graphics card. And this is the PC. It's a little glared because of the lighting, but I mean, this is where we're at. And then this is my monitor. And that's about the whole PC, aside from the keyboard and mouse, which the keyboard's just like $15. And the mouse is my wireless one.
Once you had all the parts.
Yeah.
How long would it take you to put this together?
So if it's your first time like me, it took me 2 days. It took me 2 days just because I could have done it in a day, but it would have been like 8-9 hours. It took me around 8-9 hours in total. That's with troubleshooting and things that I had problems with that people run into when you build a PC. But it was like 2 days and then, yeah, 2 days. It was 2 days of building it and then set it and everything to get it to work so that I can turn it on, log in, and use Google or whatever. 2 days. 2 days
How
and about
long?
9 hours.
How long will it be until it's obsolete, where you have to update it?
That depends on what you plan to do with it and what you want to do with it. Assuming none of the parts break and everything's good, you can go arguably as long as you want.
Okay.
Because it really just comes down to what your components are and what the demand for things are. So right now, what I have, the way technology is moving is so fast, but I would say if I were to not spend another dime for like 5 years, I'd be solid. I'd be totally, I would be miles beyond someone who's got a laptop, where in 5 years, if you haven't done anything to your laptop's probably about 50 to 60% slower than what it was. My PC will probably be the exact same.
If somebody was watching this video and said, Peter, they're gonna buy the parts. They're gonna give you money to buy the parts,
Yeah.
and they want you to build them a computer. How much would it cost them approximately?
The PC or the service?
The PC plus the service.
The service, I would probably just pull some number like per hour. You know what I mean? Because since it took me 8, 9 hours, wouldn't take me that long a second time. It would probably take me, assuming no problems, assuming there's no issues, no problems, because you can run into problems, which I can discuss in a minute. But assuming you run into no problems, could take me about an hour.
An hour to build that whole computer?
Oh, yeah. Because a lot of it is really simple. A lot of it is just clicking crap in, taking plastic off and clicking crap in. It really could be arguably even like 20 minutes. You could be very, very fast with it. If you know what you're doing, which I now know a lot more of what I'm doing and where the plugs go, it could be like a half hour. I could put the whole thing together.
So would 4,000 be enough?
Oh my God, that's crazy. Holy shit. I would love a $4,000 PC. $4,000 would get you a very, very, very nice PC. Very nice PC. If you get a $4,000 PC, you don't touch that shit for like minimum a decade. Unless you've got money to upgrade regularly, you don't need it. $4,000 is stupid money for a PC. And I'm going to be honest, that's stupid money for me in terms of a PC. Stupid money for a PC can go all the way up to like 10 grand. You can really, really ball out on PCs. But like I forget what my friend Amelia's was. Her PC was about $2,000, and it's a solid PC that she could not touch for the next five plus years, and it arguably be the same speed so long as she takes care of it and updates it and cleans it, right? Doesn't like get too much dust in there. I don't see her having a single problem for the next 5 years unless we go through some massive technological shift where everything becomes digitally more expensive in the sense of like bandwidth and memory and so forth.
And your PC?
Mine probably a bit longer than hers because, for example, so her and I have the same CPU, which is a core. CPU core is the main. It's like when you go into a museum and you go to the information desk, and that person is the one directing every flow of traffic in every direction. That's a good example of a CPU. They are that's where all the information goes in and then gets dispersed accordingly. We have the same CPU. I have more RAM or memory, which is short-term memory. It's how much your computer can hold in one current sitting. RAM can be used for video games. RAM is used up when you have too many tabs open on your computer. and it starts to slow down, that's you're using too much RAM, because what's happening is your computer's trying to remember all of these tabs so that when you click on them, they're still there, right? And you don't lose that link to that article that you were looking at. So I have twice the amount of RAM that she has. And she has a graphics card called the GeForce 3060, which is the 3000 series. They have different series of graphics cards. The most newest version is the 4090. I believe it goes 30, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and then they go to the next one, but I'm not 100% sure. She's a 3060. Perfect for her. It'll be great for games. She can do video editing and so on and so forth. I have a 4070. Mine is much better. Just comparatively, mine is eons better than hers because mine is the next series. It's newer and has more, I guess you could say more capacity to do things. And I got it because I do 3D modeling and I want to be able to do simulations like water simulations, fire simulations, and things that are very heavy on a computer's graphics card. Mine, I think, and I believe mine was about $200 cheaper than hers. Mine was about $200 cheaper than hers, and I ended up accidentally being smarter with certain products that she's having to go back on because she, in the process of building and trial and error and just being greenhorn when it comes to building a PC like I was, she made mistakes. One being, if you look at my PC, all the fans sync up. So that the fans down here, the fans up here, they all have the same colors and it looks really, really cool. That is because I got fans that all plug into each other in a daisy chain. And all I need to do is get one of them to plug into the rest of the computer. So
I have a question.
So they all are tied to one cable. Hers individually have to be plugged in. And it makes for a complicated and problematic mess. So because of that, she now has to go back and she wants to save and buy fans from the same company so that she can make them all work together. So she's having to spend a little more on that because of that mistake. I got lucky and had some tech guys at the computer shop help me out and say, no, get them all the same company. They'll work together very well. You'll be a lot happier with it. Okay. Now I am.
Question.
Yes.
The fans are warranted?
No. So you can, where I went, a place called Micro Center. Shout out to Micro Center. Love that place. I've never been. It's like a Walmart for computers. It is so fun in there. They've got everything. They've got an entire aisle of different keyboards and another aisle for different mouses and all the components to computers and monitors and TVs, things that you only see online or things that you see pictures of. It's so fun in there. And they're very, very knowledgeable. You can buy a warranty on whatever you want.
Did you?
So and because you buy it in parts, you get the warranty on different parts, right? So I got a warranty on certain parts. You don't need to get a warranty on everything because realistically, it's not worth it. It really, really isn't worth it. For example, my fans. Each one of those fans you can buy individually, or you can buy them in a pack of 3. Pack of 3, $30.
Gotcha. Cheap.
They're cheaper. There's cheaper ones than that, and there's more expensive ones. My friend Amelia wants ones where for 3 of them it's $90. So it depends on how you want to go with it. Or like the graphics card. Not mine, but I believe the 4090 is something like $1,100. Just the graphics card. Everything. We're not talking about the chassis, which is the thing that holds everything together for the PC. We're not talking about the fans. We're not talking about the CPU, the cooler, the RAM, nothing else. Just the graphics card. $1,100, $1,200. I'm gonna put a warranty on that. I'm gonna put a $150 warranty on that, because if that goes, I want to be covered. Same thing with a CPU, a core, right? That's an important part of a computer that can really screw you up if it goes bad. If it goes bad. And part of the reason why you want to cover that is because CPUs are very delicate. So when you put them together, if you fuck up on that part, you're screwed. So it's very, very beneficial and helpful if you get a warranty on that. Again, high end, I believe it's an i9 core for Intel, because there's i9, i7, i5, i7 1300, i7 900. There's different versions. I believe the newest i9 core is like $800 or $700. Insane.
So
Just for a little square. So you get a warranty on that.
Yeah, basically, this part of the podcast is for techies.
It's for techies, and it's to share a growing passion of mine, which is this PC. And it's just a boatload of fun. It was a lot of fun to build, and building it myself as compared to buying it pre-built changes my world. Because originally when I was looking into buying a PC, my mom had sent me to a place nearby because she found one online. She's like, oh, this place builds PCs and you can just buy it outright. They'll customize it, whatever. Went there and I was like, that's not really what I want. I don't know. Like and so my friend Amelia sent me to this website called PC Picker, PC Parts Picker, where you simply type in the parts that you want. You have to know the parts that you want, though. You like, a GeForce 4080 GPU, and an Intel i7 13700 core, deep cool fans with radiator, right? You have to know the names of these things. Corsair 32 gigabyte stick RAM. Once you know these things, you can plug in the parts of the PC that you want, and it'll tell you. So you need a motherboard, you need a this, a that, a this, that. Once you complete it all, it'll tell you the price of it, where the cheapest price of it is, and where to get it. So you can either go to a place like Micro Center and they'll price match. So you say, hey, on here, it's for $350. And here you're selling it for $400. They'll go, okay. And they print out a piece of paper. And when you go out to go check out, they honor that price. Or you can just buy them off Amazon or whatever website, Newegg, and get them digitally. But if you have a physical place to go like Micro Center, you can show them your PC parts. They'll either help you build it and get all the parts with you, in the sense of you can go up to one of them and say, hey, I need all these parts. And they'll walk around with you and grab all those parts for you. Or if you have all the parts and it says on the shelf that it's $400 and yours is $350, you show them, they price match.
And that would be a good title for the podcast. The name of the place will help you build your own computer.
Yeah, that's true. I like to consider this similar to those people who like to build their own cars. That's how I would put this, because you can get a nice shell of a car, just the shell, and put real crap in the middle. Or you can put something equally as good, or you can put something better. The same way you can get a really crappy shell of a car, but put a nice whatever, I don't know, I don't speak car. You could get a nice a V8 engine in the middle with high horsepower, whatever, I don't know. But that's the way to do it. And the customization of it, along with the ability to swap pieces out and sell them, even if it's for cheaper, to then put towards another piece, makes it fun. And the fact that there's cool lights and you get something out of it. You're not just building it like Legos and that's it. You get to play with it. You get to do things with it. Makes it really, really fun.
So people who are interested in what you just said can contact you and you could direct them.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone's looking to build a PC, granted, you can always just go on YouTube or whatever, Google, but because there are plenty of people who make content on PC building, it sometimes can be hard to sift through who's telling you the best thing and who's just trying to sell you something. But I would say my recommendation would be PC Picker, PC Part Picker. It's a website, and you can go in there and check prices, because prices do fluctuate. That's the other thing. It's
Where are
not
they located?
PC Parts Picker is a website. They are simply just a hub, a
Okay.
digital hub for all components to a computer, and they will tell you the price and where to get them digitally. But
Okay. And
if
should they
you want to
recommend?
go, to a brick and mortar place, you would have to find. I don't know how big Micro Center is. I don't know if that's just a like a East Coast thing. I don't know how big they are. So look for your local or relatively local PC place. Like
Okay,
for me, I gotta drive 50 minutes to go to Micro Center. So I don't go there often, but when I do, it's for a reason, and they've got a ton of stuff in there. So go to your local place and see what they got. And if they don't have what you want, you get them online. But
and I should
that's
recommend your name, right? Use your
yeah,
name.
yeah, you use my name and this code right here, and you'll get 15% off, and I'll make
No, no, no. I'm just saying that they heard it on the podcast.
sure, yeah, that would be cool. They can definitely name drop us. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, for anyone who is considering like wanting a PC, I really highly recommend building it. As someone who, though I am a more tech forward, tech savvy person who can fix things, like I had an issue when setting up my PC where some software wasn't working, and I figured it out without having to ask someone, and I'd never done this before. It was great. So though I may have that ability, and though you may not, and it may worry you, I highly recommend building it yourself. Not only is it more rewarding, but when you build it like that, you'll be able to build another one, or you'll be able to confidently buy and get other pieces when you eventually do, and put it in yourself. And it
How would
just
it be how would it be advantageous to someone who's not a techie? Let's say you built one for your mother.
mhm.
Uh, would this make it easier or more difficult for her to use as opposed to her regular desktop?
So it depends on the purpose of what she's using it for. If she has a desktop like this, a big setup with a tower and everything, and she's just doing basic stuff like Excel, Microsoft Excel and Word and PowerPoint, I don't need to build her one. That's just a waste of money. Like I could, and we could price compare just to see, but realistically, if she's only going to save $100, it's not worth it. Let her spend the 100. If we're talking about someone who wants to game and wants to get into animation, right there, they've got a digital sketch pad, and they want to animate on their computer, or they want to do 3D modeling and animation like me, then I can build them one. Because a prime example, and the difference is, when I first was looking into PCs, the PC that I had looked at from a guy who was going to pre-build it for me was not only something that didn't look cool, like I visually, I was like, okay. Internally, the components, the graphics card that they had versus the one I have, their graphics card was like a 3050, 3060. Mine's a 4070. My Intel Core is one step higher than the one they were offering. And I have, I believe, 3 extra fans in here than what they would have offered. Mine is $400 cheaper, $500 cheaper than what they were going to give me. And I got everything I wanted. I got a cool looking computer. I got all the components that I wanted in it. And I got to build it myself. And I got, and the RAM. The RAM, I have twice as much. And I have all of that. All of that, built it myself, and the monitor. So that includes my monitor too. Buying this monitor and the PC, all of that together, $500 cheaper, around there, than them pre-building just the PC. I don't get a monitor from them. They would just build me the PC, and it looked the chassis, the shell of the computer, to me, not a fan of. Looked fine for. I think it would look cool if like a middle schooler wanted it, or a younger kid, or someone who's more into that.
And the monitors are interchangeable.
The monitor, the screen, yes, those are interchangeable. You can get whatever you want. Like mine, I got a relatively cheaper one, but still like pretty cool. And it was a I forget what it was, but it was relatively on the cheaper side, but pretty big. I mean, like I'm trying to think of.
42-inch,
No, it's like
27-inch.
yeah, something like that. 27, I think it was like 27.5 or something. 27-inch, and like nice monitor, nice monitor. All of this, all of it together,
Okay.
$500 less than what someone, if you went to someone to build for, $500 less, and I got a computer that's way more powerful, looks better, and performs better. Just overall is better. So building it yourself is not just a self-rewarding thing. It can save you so much money. You just, either have a friend who knows what they're doing, do it for you, or learn yourself. But if you're going to learn yourself, learn. Actually, like, go through and learn, because you can end up making mistakes that then end up costing you the money that you would have saved. And now you're going through the headache of trying to combat that mistake. And like at that point, you should have just bought it from someone else and they would have built it for you. So nonetheless, do the homework.
Once it's built, can anybody use it? It's just like a computer?
Just like a computer. It's
Okay.
just a computer. That's all it is. It's just a bigger, more powerful laptop. It's,
And the cable company's speeds support it?
yeah. So whatever internet you have, that's what it is. This PC doesn't draw out more internet. Whatever internet you have, you would have to ask the cable company, or you can do a speed test to see what your internet is. But if you have slow internet, that's not a PC's problem. That's cable company's problem. So if you want faster internet, you got to talk to them. The only thing that this draws out more is wattage. So depending on what you're doing on the computer or how long you have the computer on for, yeah, it can sap more wattage, but that's obvious because it's a big piece of tech with a monitor, and it's not just a singular plug from a laptop that's synthesized and meant to be portable. This is a massive component. So
you didn't get your first electrical bill yet?
no. But at the same time, at least the way I use my computer, I'm not making a huge dent, because if I wasn't on here, if I wasn't playing games on here, I'd be playing those games on my old PlayStation. And they're I'd say all in similar ballpark of wattage. If not, they're pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's the displacement of wattage, shall we say, is not crazy. It depends on your usage. Some people who are going to sit on this laptop and max out the computer for 7 hours a day, you're going to have a high electrical bill because everything's going to be running for hours and hours and hours. But if you're like me, where I may turn it on for a couple hours, or I may not even touch it on certain days because I'm just busy, just doing other things. I'm not like, it's not going to suck your wattage dry in your house, but it is still a big vacuum, or a big expense in terms of wattage. So it's something to be mindful of.
Any problems if you wanted to FaceTime someone, let's say in Germany? Any problems
What do you mean?
using this computer? It would work just like an older computer if you wanted to FaceTime someone in Germany.
When it comes to something like FaceTime, it's the same. You could do that on your laptop or your phone, and it would have the same effect.
Okay.
The only when the benefits and the complexities of this computer don't lie in things like FaceTime or Zoom. Like what I'm doing now on Zoom, no different than what I was doing on my laptop. There's zero difference.
Okay.
The difference comes in with things like when I edit this podcast, how quickly I can edit, how quickly it'll render, how quickly I can post it. And while I'm on this Zoom, if I wanted to open 15 links on Google, I can do that and I won't have any lagging issues. But on my laptop, I might. So that it comes down to performance and what you plan to use it for. But internet-based things like FaceTime or Zoom or other things in that nature, that's about the same. Streaming's a good one, right? Like I streamed on my laptop. I can't play most games on my laptop while streaming because my computer can't handle, because it doesn't have a graphics card. My laptop doesn't have a graphics card, and it doesn't have a strong enough fan system and CPU to keep it cool. So when it gets too hot, it starts to lag. And so streaming takes up like 50% of my computer's capacity, 50 to 70%. So I only have about 20%, because if I get above 90, we're screwed. So any game that puts any more stress on my computer than 20%, which is very little, we lag.
Okay.
So this computer, I can play high-end games and stream and do all these things and arguably not lag. So that's where the performance side of it comes into play. And that's the difference of laptop versus PC.
Okay. Anything else you want to cover?
Build your own PC, do it. You'll love it. You'll appreciate it. There's a whole market of keyboards that I learned about 2 weeks ago. I don't plan to get into it. I've semi gotten into it, but I don't plan to go super deep into it. The same way that you can get like $10,000 PCs, you can get like $3,000 keyboards, because there's all these customizations and things that you can do on a keyboard. It is ridiculous. It's fun and creative. And for people who are tech, and it's like it's an investment and you can always resell it, but it's its own beast. I finished building my PC and my friend Amelia then tells me about keyboards and I went, don't start with me. So there's a lot of fun to be had, but it's also very expensive.
Did you get my envelope I sent you?
Not the second one. Oh, yes. No, I got the second one. Yes, I did. Thank you for that. I appreciate that a lot.
Okay.
But with that, yeah, highly recommend. If you guys have any questions about PCs or where to go or whatever, you can always message me. You can put a comment if you're watching on YouTube, if you know my Instagram. On my YouTube channel, I have a link to my Instagram, so you can always link it and message me, whatever. But yeah, very, very, very fun. I look at it every single day and be like, wow, I built that. I'm super proud of myself.
Yeah, I'm proud of you too. And
Thank you.
I don't understand everything you said, but some of it penetrated.
As long as some of it does, because, not everyone's going to become a computer expert. Just because I like computers doesn't mean you need to as well. But if some of it gets through and it piques your interest and you decide you want to build one, consult your local techie.
Yeah, you're my local techie, and I will probably need you to do a scan for me, which will tell me what to do in next week or so.
That's fine. You let me know. Well, hello, your local techie
Yes,
here.
yeah, I got you. Yeah, because I have to join something.
Yep. Well, I'll help you out. So with that,
Okay.
I hope you all have a good rest of your day, evening, night, morning, lunch, breakfast, dinner, sleep, whatever you're doing.
Yes.
And
don't let the world conditions get you down.
yes,
There are
still things to be happy about.
Yes.
Still things to love.
Yes.
And we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye. Peace out.
Peace out.